haven't done it in a while, so this is Jeff Carroll, Sci-Fi Express Lane. I'm expressing myself. I found something that I feel I can talk about, and I'm just putting it out there. This is extremely premature, but it has been creating a little conversation. I just got back from Heroes Con. I'm actually driving back now, and it was Scott Snyder was there, and a bunch of people from Absolute, like they got the whole Absolute Batman team, Absolute DC, and all of that. And it was a conversation piece, we were talking about it, and I read the one shot of them taking on the white supremacist group, the Klan type bootleg Klan, and then I have the first issue, the graphic novel, and I'm working my way through that. So I'm not 100% expert on it, but I don't think I have to be for what I'm going to say. So I am talking about Absolute Batman as a Batman within the spectrum of other Batmans. So how Batman was in the different movies, Batman Noir, the Batman from the old 70s, the 70s show, like all the different Batmans. So this Batman is middle class. He's not poverty, but he certainly is not rich. And he's a lot more violent. He's like absolute, so that's what it means, extreme. So he's a little bit more violent and stuff like that. So people have connected with him in a different way. It's the biggest storyline in DC. It's bigger than DCKO, which I think was flawed. This is not flawed. However, I personally believe that this quote-unquote blue-collar Batman is a different Batman from the other Batmans. So much so that it actually should have been another superhero. It should have been, a whole nother character, maybe in a universe that Batman exists, the rich Batman, or maybe not, but he feels more like the Punisher. Whereas the traditional Batman, because we're going to say that because all the other Batmen were rich and they all had a moral code of not necessarily killing people. And this Absolute Batman doesn't necessarily kill people, but it's implied because many times, from what I've heard, is consistent with what I've read so far, that the people that he takes down are kind of not able to live after what he's done to them. So it's almost like he's Judge Dredd, he's Judge and Jury. So to me, it reminded me of this current Agent Orange we got in the White House, right? Where he wants to be tough on crime. Get that piece of shit off the streets. Get that scumbag, whatever the hell, these are the words that he uses to describe these people. And it almost brings up the moral code of what is jail? What is prison? Is it a place of punishment? Or is it a place of reform? Or is it even both, right? Is it punishment, reform, or both? And who are these people that do crime? Are they pieces of shit? Are they, people who just was socialized in a messed up way that can be reintegrated into society? Yeah, you did this to this person, you beat this lady up, whatever. I think with pedophilia and rape, it may be like different. I don't know if, because when you're a pedophile, you have to be registered, right? I don't know if you have to be registered if you rape somebody. I don't know if you get out of jail after that. But I know like car burglars, probably even regular murderers, right? As long as it ain't, a rape involved, I think when you get out of jail from there, it says that you were reformed. And that's the whole thing about a sentence, in the sense that hopefully you'll come out a different person. So you'll come out a different person. But I want to know, kind of, is that what we all feel? I think the sentence is a level of punishment. You punish for 10 years, you got 7 years, you got 30 years, whatever. Okay, that's the length of time you're in there. But to get out, you got to show that you are a different person. You're not going to do that again. I think that's what it, I've never, paid attention to the legal system, but that, to me, what it is all about, right? So when it comes to absolute Batman, or even this current administration, it feels like it's just a place of punishment. Like, and I get it, Arkham Asylum is a different place, but Arkham Asylum is really a mental institution. Arkham Asylum is in Arkham Jail. So when the Joker goes there and Batman sends these people there, he ain't sending them to jail, they're going to a mental institution. So that speaks to a whole nother category of crime and penalty and motivation. If you're crazy, you don't even get, the same type of sentencing that a person who is mentally stable gets. So anyway, I just wonder, about absolute Batman and what it says. I even wonder, what does absolute Batman think of these other Batman? You know what I'm saying? Because do we think they're liberal? Is he MAGA? You know what I'm saying? Is he, this tough on crime, throwback to how we used to be? Because to be honest, you steal my car, yeah, if I catch you, I'm gonna probably beat you up if I can. You know what I'm saying? But stealing my car ain't worth you getting killed. You know what I'm saying? And I had my car stolen. And it probably was little kids that took it on a joyride. I want them to get penalized for it so they don't do it again. You know what I'm saying? Now, if the person got money, if they made money, I would even like them to have some restitution, because they stole my Cherokee truck and messed up my 4-wheel drive because it was snow, and I think they put it in 4-wheel drive and it was riding around Newark, and they messed up my 4-wheel drive. So I would like to have them, make up to me by paying for my car to get fixed, right? That would be nice. Other than that, I'm not saying break their leg. I'm not saying beat them up. And I get it, some people only understand violence. But to me, I'm not that person. I don't think a lot of people are, all right? I mean, I'm black. We come out of slavery. We're not saying, murder all white people. No, we're saying, just let us live and leave us alone. Of course you did a crime to us. Yeah, we would love for you to be taken care of, but, that's just Thomas Jefferson raping Sally Hemings. That ain't the whole Jefferson family. Many of them probably just, need to learn how to treat us equal and live alongside us like Dr. King wanted, and that's how it is. But I think it's a different thing for some of these people who feel that that's a liberal thing to feel. And I think if that's a liberal thing, then all 90% of black people is liberal. Yeah, there's black people that would, want to do things to more than just the enslaver, but I still don't think they would want to enslave or murder all white people for just being a part of it. No, I think they would just be like, all we want to do is live equal, and we want to ensure that. So if you got to be scared of us to let us live, then finally, whatever it takes, But if you can just make it a law and we can coexist, then I think most black people would be cool with that. But I do think this absolute Batman would probably, and his core fans. So there's another thing. It's like, I think there's people that can watch a fight, but not to be a person to approve of the fight. You know what I'm saying? They would watch somebody fighting on the block, but they wouldn't do that themselves. And they really hope that the person don't die from it. Because I know there's fights out there, and when the people finish fighting, they'd be like, oh my God, is that person all right? Did I just watch somebody get killed? And they're not even noticing that is a possibility when they're watching the fight, when they're recording it, when they're phones. I think that is a certain group of Batman, absolute Batman fans, that there are people that are just watching it because it's fiction and they're just looking at the violence. But then there's other people that really feel that this is what we need in our world. We need Judge Dredd. And even if Absolute Batman is taking justice in his own hand, he ain't doing it through an organized system like Judge Dredd. He got Judge Dredd follow rules. I don't think Absolute Batman follows any rules. I think he's the Punisher. So, I don't know. It just makes me think of a whole lot of things. And mind you, like I said, I ain't read all of this. This is just the product of me talking to people that wasn't making a lot of sales today at Heroes Con. But it really seems like that might be the situation. You know, I talked to other writers, and not amateur writers that write for DC, wrote for DC, and were involved in it on that level. And, you know, they actually think that that's a good question to have. Shoot, Batman at the end of the day is a trauma-created superhero, similar to Spider-Man, but Spider-Man was bit by a spider. He became a crime fighter because of his uncle dying, at least in the main Spider-Man that we all kind of know of. But that's not, you know, that's not the case with Miles Morales, right? But the Bruce Wayne watching his parents get killed, he needed therapy. You know what I'm saying? And if he learned to control it to the point where he just says, I'm gonna take these criminals to justice, then I mean, that might be all right. But if Absolute Batman is like, I lost my, you know, father and mother or whatever, and now I gotta go out, I'm making people pay for whatever I went through. Damn it, you need therapy. And I get it that we need people to take care of crime, and some people need to be rough people that do fight crime. I don't think you need to lose your morals to do it. I think you get caught up in it, but when it gets to that point, you need to not be on the police force. You need to be taken out of the army. You've become a killer. You understand? At that point. So I just wonder, you know, did Absolute Batman, is he a killer? You know what I'm saying? Did he get consumed with the hatred, the anger, the rage? You know, did he let that consume him and become something that is not a moral individual? You know, because I think that's a different superhero, or whatever Batman is, because he don't have powers. But I think that's a different person. So anyway, that's my take, right? I wonder if Absolute Batman thinks that other Batmen are just liberal and the fans of that Batman. I don't know if this Absolute Batman will even be able to come out in a movie and be received the same way. I say that because, yeah, they say they don't want to make Absolute Batman a movie or give it any live action legs. I don't think that's up for them to decide, because I think if people want it and they see money behind it, why the hell not? One Marvel movie makes more than Marvel Comics. You understand? Black Panther made more than all of the comic books that year for Marvel. So the company is not 50-50 economically. Movies and television series make a lot more than comic books. Ain't even a million people buying a comic book. But there might be a million people that go see Black Panther or go see, you know, Captain America. So yeah, it's a different ball game. And also people buy movie tickets, go to see it over and over again. I don't think the average person is buying 3 or 4 copies of the comic book. Anyway, I also think, you know, having written film and had films and screened them for audience and wrote books and read them in book clubs and comic books, had them out and all that. I've done all those mediums. Books and comic books are independent. You read them on your own and you make up your own imagination. You don't believe me? Read a book and go to a book club. What you got from it is not what everybody else got from it. And when you go to a movie, it's totally different than those things. You go to a movie, everybody sees the same thing, and they maybe interpret a little bit different, but they actually are seeing the same thing. It's not pictures on paper, I mean words on paper, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so if Absolute Batman came out in a live action, I think people would have an opinion on it that would question the morality of Batman. Very much like what they did with Thanos. They changed him from being a psychopathic killer who's motivated by this this woman in his head called Lady Death, and that's why he's just killed. To be an eco-friendly person, destroying half a life in the universe to give the universe a longer longevity. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to give you my take on Absolute Batman. I think I hit all my points. My time is up. I don't really like going over 15 minutes. So remember, like, share, subscribe, and comment. All right, peace.